Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. treason if chosen name is patriotism when Donald's to blame. Had Biden done it, I don't flip. Had Biden done it, full numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd shout no way. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
This just in. A sudden spike in logic levels across the city. Citizens report seeing a man with glasses and a podcast mic. We go now live to Liberal Dan. Yo, who you gonna call when Nazi writings on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, cause you know we got a plan. The right wing talking shit, but he ain't about to quit. He'll take his proton pack and zap your logic cause it's whack. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall.
It's being reported that Liberal Dan is setting up what appears to be some sort of straw man containment field.
He's calling out your lies with his mic, he'll vaporize. Cross the streams in your dreams, bitch, you know that he's too wise. You're like Slimer talking crap, but you walked into his trap. Yo, it's more than entertainment, it's misinformation contained. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. The Statue of Liberty, the writing you can see. So bring the huddled masses, it's a war of the classes. While Trump may think he's Vigo, Dan can cut through that ego. He's got the facts to prove him wrong, got that logic like Egon. Your logic is a ghost, cause you know this chick is toast. When you follow MTG, it's conspiracy, you'll see. There's no need to taser, he's got wit like Occam's razor. Liberal Dan cuts those lies with his Jewish face laser.
It's unbelievable. Liberal Dan just used the literal dog whistle to lure a large group of internet trolls into what is being called a self-collapsing rhetoric singularity. In all my years of reporting, I've never seen anything like this.
So don't call to be a heckler, you ain't no Judge Rexler. He'll bust you like Scolery, cause your logic's looking hairy. Right-wing callers think they're cool, but they sounding just like Zool. You the dog, he the man, and yo, his name is Liberal Dan. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan.
Proclaimed king, a groper in chief, stealing our country, a crooked orange thief. Faux patriots who are poorly educated, wearing red hats and also unvaccinated. Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk on the left, that's right. A failing media that's barely treading water. They're too inept to fight this new world order. Corporate pigs are at the trough, hear the squeals. The swine won't bite the hands that feeds them meals. But Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk comes the left, that's right. A leftist voice on air, exposing MAGA treason, breaking through their lies with facts, logic, and reason. Unmasking hypocrisy, the truth will be our guide. Call out their lies, justice is on our side. Cause Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right.
And welcome back to Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, that's right. This is your host, Dan Zimmerman, coming at you live from New Orleans, Louisiana. Please remember to smash that like button if you're over on YouTube and share the stream and everything like that. All that stuff that helps the algorithm, helps out the show. And as we all know, Al Gore needs more rhythm. And you can get your own Liberal Dan Radio t-shirt, linked to, I think, pretty much in all of the YouTube videos as well. Just go to store.liberaldanradio.com when you need the HTTP and not the HTTPS, because I haven't fixed that problem yet. But once that happens, I'll make sure it's better. I've also tagged in both streams my youngest son, who just turned 13, who can now legally stream on Twitch now. He wants to try and become an affiliate over on Twitch. He's doing well with the amount of viewers per stream that he needs so far. Now he just needs to get the number of subscribers or the followers over on there, so go follow him over on Twitch if you have it. If you don't, no biggie, no big whoop. Apparently he's streaming Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man right now, so but don't go leave and watch him yet. Still hang around for Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, that's right, and then you can afterwards give him a follow, whatever. He'll be very happy to see the Liberal Danimals coming over there and helping out all of, I don't know what he wants to call his people who will follow him too. He'll come up with a clever name that's potentially, maybe dirty. I don't know, because he has a potty mouth. Anyway, good to see you, 250 kilo ohm. Thank you. Let's see, Dan's got some energy. Sleep. I did sleep a good bunch on Monday. I slept a pretty long time. I had some pretty good sleep the last 2 nights because I finally got around to using some of what Chad sent me, and that's some strong stuff, let me tell you. I'll just put it that way. I don't want to go into too much details about that. I don't really know if I'm that hyped up or whatever, or I mean, I may very well still be tired, but I'm just, in a good mood. One of the reasons that I'm in a good mood is simply the fact that I am now free to announce the fact that I have a new job, and I have, I am now working somewhere else. That's the main location for the law firm is not in Louisiana, so I am 100% remote again, which is awesome. All my work stuff is over here. Like, I now have 2 more monitors plus another laptop in this office, where I can, go on that chair and do that work, and then I can come to this chair and do my streaming, podcasting, or whatever. But the good news is that even though I lost my previous job because they, sank quicker than the Titanic, I got a 20% pay bump, which is not, I mean, that's gross pay bump. I don't know what the end result would be, like how much I end up because of all of the benefit differences that might come into play. I don't know. I think I'm still going to be ending up making a little bit extra more money at least every month. Plus the opportunity for growth exists there as well. So good news for that for me and my family. Of course, congrats. Imagine if Biden crashed the Titanic into an iceberg and then fired the entire crew. That's pushing it, don't you think? But anyway, yeah, it is a nice thing to have happening.
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, the screen fell play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Anyway, let me know if I sound a little lower, because I think I did have to change the sound settings a little bit when that's at 100, so that's good. I did have to change the sound settings a little bit simply because of the fact that I did, after last week's show, which was a week ago. It's been a long time since I've taken a week off from doing a show. But last week's show, after I finished the show, I stayed at my computer a little longer, and I did the full-on non-acapella version of The Man Who Shat His Pants. And so it worked out really well. Of course, my wife was messaging me while I was doing it, and she was like, is that you singing? Because it sounds like an elk is dying in there. And I was like, well, what I'm going for, or what I went for, I guess, last week, is a combination of Donald Trump versus Kurt Cobain in trying to sing the song. And she was like, well, that makes sense, I guess. So it actually turned out really well. So if you haven't listened to the full-on version with the karaoke music behind it, go check it out. Because that way, again, if you like it and think it's funny, share it. Share all the other songs that you like as well, etc. So it's, I was proud of myself. What I was actually most shocked about simply was I'm talking about the idea of the parody, and I had only come up with the chorus of it like 20 minutes before show started last week. And then Andrea's like, I can't wait to hear the whole thing. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to come up with a parody in 20 minutes. No way. And then 8 minutes later, or 9 minutes later, I actually finished the whole ass parody. So, and then anybody who was watching live got to, hear my version of it a cappella style, because I didn't want to risk any sort of copyright infringement. It did get a, hey, this background music belongs to somebody else, but it didn't give me a copyright strike, but it did say you can't monetize this video, which is fine. I don't need it to be monetized. I was happy to get it and happy to get it done or whatever. So The Man Who Shat His Pants is live and on liberaldanradio.com. Go check it out. Let's see. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. We got Jolie, Teresa. Good to see you. Roxanne. Let's see. Blue Salami, welcome. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. The Goddess Kimchi is here. Thank you, Goddess Kimchi, for joining. Jeff from just north of Uranus. What else? Fancy, good to see you, Fancy. Who else am I missing so far? I saw Bill. Bill P is in the chat. Good to see you as well. Let's scroll on down. Petrazi's here. Nice to see you too. Roxanne. Did I say Christine? If I hadn't said Christine, hey, Christine. Steve from across the pond.
If it's not Scottish, it's crap.
Of course, I guess I should play Jolie's sound too.
I like turtles.
What else? Jackie, good to see you as well. The J Squad is representing tonight. Janelle, Jackie, Jeff, Jolie. We are all Jaying tonight. Of course, my middle name's Jay, so there you go. Anyway, so reason I hadn't been on for the week was because I actually got a little confused. I thought Bacchus, for some reason, I thought Bacchus was Monday night. It's Sunday night. But my wife ended up wanting to go see Orpheus on Monday night. So we went and saw Orpheus, which is Harry Connick Jr.'s parade. It's one of the newer ones in the existence of New Orleans Mardi Gras parades. I mean, it's been here for a very long time, but it's still relatively new comparatively. And lots of Mardi Gras stuff, is great and fun and exciting and whatever. But a lot of it is also, brings out the worst in some people. They had a float that got in trouble. There was a float the whole float got in trouble because they were pelting law enforcement with beads. And I'm like, well, if you can't dodge a bead, how are you going to dodge a bullet? But, don't be stupid either. I mean, you can't sit there and, just outwardly just pelt people, who have guns with beads because they're not going to react too kindly to that. Fortunately, most New Orleans police officers understand what goes on and are simply just going to remove you from the float. If you would have gotten pelted somebody from ICE, it might be a whole different story. They might have shot up the whole float. Then you had potentially racist throws because you had Barbie dolls, black-hued Barbie dolls being strung up by beads on the side. And the people who are going to always try and make excuses for the racists are going to say, maybe they were just trying to do this to be have them easier to grab or whatever, so they could just toss a whatever, just keep it in a box or put it in a bag and throw it from a bag or something. A lot of times people will put dolls and other stuff in bags so that people can have it, or just throw the damn doll without having it be on a set of beads, because you can use common sense and you can think, oh, we're in the South and there's a black Barbie, and if it's being strung up by beads, it's going to have some people think, well, are you being racist or are you not being racist? And so use your brains and don't do something that might be interpreted as racist if you're not trying to be racist. And if you are trying to be racist, go F yourself. And then, of course, there's a situation, if you're friends with me on my regular Facebook account or whatever, or actually, you even probably saw it if you're on YouTube, because I posted the story about it on YouTube. Sitting, like, you have a rule when you have Mardi Gras parades, typically, if they're going down the street, you'll have the white lines where cars can park, but they can't park during Mardi Gras, obviously. They will tow your ass quickly. And so you have to be behind the lines, especially when the bands are coming up, because the escorts will, kind of be like nudge you or just kind of like, hey, move to the side, make room for the band, because the band needs room for the band to march. And most people in New Orleans understand this, and most people who are not in New Orleans or not from New Orleans will have people around them say, look, you got to stay behind there. The police officers will tell you stand behind there or whatever. No, my wife was well behind the solid white line that she was supposed to be behind, and this guy pushed her over. And if it wasn't for my oldest son and a stranger next to her guiding her down to the chair that was behind her, she would have probably potentially fallen on her ass and maybe even cracked her skull. Because the guy was hyper aggressive, and if he would have cracked her, if that would have gotten that bad, I might have been on air tonight, because I might have been arrested over what happened. Because I already was pissed off. I went to a cop and I was like, people up there in this thing, they're aggressively pushing people out of the way. They even pushed a child. Like, there was a child on a ladder, and the ladder was further back than my wife was, and they still were trying to push it back. Again, being overly aggressive. And my wife actually took a picture after the fact of where she was, where the ladder was, and I was actually able to send that picture to the person who's in charge of the Alcorn State University band, who vehemently apologized and was like, we will take care of that and make sure that the person doesn't do any of that sort of thing again. Which makes me think, because I didn't give you the name or a picture of what person was doing it, but apparently there must have been enough other people complaining to be like, oh, this guy is trouble. But it wasn't just that one guy, because I marched my ass down the street and caught back up to him with my bad, healing knee or whatever, and my shin really hurts right now because I maybe overly aggressive. I told several police officers, none of which wanted to do anything to stop it. And I was watching all of their other people pushing other people out of the way who were already behind the line that they were supposed to be behind. So to me, this group was just trying to use this as an excuse to be bullies, as an excuse to exert power. Maybe that a lot of times, like what you see cops doing. They were not popular in high school. They're trying to reclaim any power that they lost by being cops, and then all of a sudden, then they're going to bully other people. Limited extent of what was going on for these individual people who, because usually 99% of the people who are just accompanying the parades to protect the kids are just simply doing it to protect the kids, and that's the only reason that they're there. And they are following the rules. They're just making sure everybody else is following the rules. But this particular band, they were not good at all. So I was not very pleased with that one. And of course I was also disappointed at the cop inaction of what took place. Anyway. ICE is ICE working the crowd? I don't know if ICE itself was working the crowd, but there were people who were there who were National Guards people who were doing jack and shit. Apparently there was like a whole bunch of there was a fight that broke out and National Guards people just sat there and did nothing. So anyway. So ICE moonlighting. Yeah, ICE was moonlighting as the people marching alongside the parade, right? Anywho, so wait, Jeff goes, pop quiz trick question. Name the fourth Ninja Turtles extra credit for a short-lived fifth one. His name was Jimmy. Jimmy the Turtle. Yeah.
I like turtles.
Anyway, so So talked about my job, talked about the man who shat his pants, talked about all the BS for Mardi Gras. Have you seen the commercial? This is just before I start talking about the main topics of the day. Have you seen the fiber commercials, like Fiber One and several other fiber-based cereals? And Bill Shatner, aka Captain Kirk, is the spokesperson for these. But instead of him calling himself like Bill Shatner or William Shatner, he's calling himself Will Shat. And if that isn't the most brilliant advertising campaign going on right now on TV, I don't know what is. The fact that he's calling himself Will Shat in the commercials, just the first time I heard it, I was like, wait, and you're talking about fiber, and you're calling yourself Will Shat, especially after I wrote The Man Who Shat His Pants. Yeah, that's absolutely freaking hysterical. So I'm usually critical of missed opportunities as it pertains to like advertisers and businesses that are, missing a good opportunity to, get something clever in their advertisements just to, hell, even Disney World does it. They call themselves Imagineers, but it's not EARS, like that sort of thing. But when somebody comes up with a good one, like having Will Shat be the spokesperson for your fiber-based cereal, I got to give you kudos on that one. So it's that Canadian sense of humor. Yay. So yeah, hey Suzanne, good to see you. Let's see, did I miss anybody else? Josh Sees, what's going on, Josh? Nice to see another member of the J Squad. I'm gonna have to make J Squad specific shirts for y'all if y'all want to buy J Squad shirts. But I guess I can't necessarily control whether or not you buy it if you're part of the J Squad or not. But you can support the J Squad in whatchamacallit, as a fan of the J Squad or whatever, right? Anyway, so what else? I also I did come up with a good motto, I guess, to start, the talking. We're only almost 20 minutes or 15 minutes in, I guess, or 28 minutes in from the start of the stream itself. So, there was a time that I was being hesitant and questionable as to how much criticism I should do, criticizing like the people who made the decisions in the previous law firm that I worked for. How much time should I have spent, talking negatively about it? And look, I worked with a bunch of great people at the old law firm, and I'm sad that it went away for that reason specifically. It was a progressive law firm. They embraced progressive values. They embraced DEI. They embraced just supporting each other, even as they were closing. Like the recruiting person was taking her time out of her day to help train people how to do better job interviews, how to write better resumes, how to write better cover letters, how to use like things like AI to try and to try and help you stand out and make you look different, help you like be the person who the future employer might want you to be. Now, in my case, I didn't even see an ad. There was no even advertisement on LinkedIn or any of the other job websites. There was nothing like that, on there. It was just some attorney who was working at the previous law firm who basically said, hey, we have this law firm who reached out who's looking for lawyers, looking for legal staff, yada, yada, yada. And I basically came in and said, I sent them an email and I was like, look, I don't know if you have any IT needs or if your IT needs that you currently have meet what my resume states that I can do for y'all. However, I would love to have an opportunity to interview with y'all. And if for some reason you don't think that I meet the qualifications of whatever openings you might have, I'm more than happy to send it off to somebody else who's not. And all of a sudden, I heard back from him pretty much immediately. Like I think I sent them the email on a Thursday. I had the email offer on the Friday, or had an interview on the Friday, and then by the next week I had the job offer, which was quickly accepted, and now I'm employed. So yay. So sometimes it takes being aggressive and just saying, hey, do you have any openings? I might be able to fit in any openings you might have.
Oh my.
But not that way, because we keep the two separate. Hey, it's Aaron. Good to see you, Aaron. I was about to blow the Aaron horn and I didn't quite do it. So But yeah, so of course that joke reminds me of the one that was made in the Looking for a Wine Steward from History of the World Part 1, and Madeline Kahn's character is like, do I have any openings that this man might fit? So anyway, hello Aaron over there as well. So let's see what else to talk about. Oh yeah, let's talk about Jesse Jackson passing away. Now, with Jesse Jackson passing away, I don't have too much to say about it, whatever. I'm sure it's been covered a lot in the media, but there's one thing that I like to refer to as the reverse Mandela effect. Everybody is aware of the Mandela effect, which is, you think something really happened and it didn't, but you really think that it did, but it didn't. When it comes to Jesse Jackson, there is something that I thought never happened, and then a few years ago it turns out it actually did happen. Like, I thought for the longest time that it would have been amazing to have Jesse Jackson read Green Eggs and Ham. Be like, I could not, would not on a boat. I could not, would not with a goat. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam, I am. And do it in his Jesse Jackson cadence. And then all of a sudden, I just decided to go look it up one day, and it was something that was done on Saturday Night Live during Weekend Update. I think it was Kevin Nealon, I think, was the host of Weekend Update at the time, and I was just like, what? It actually exists. It actually is something that happened. So that's what I'm calling the reverse Mandela effect, because it's something that I was sure never happened, that I would have loved to have happened, and it did happen. And then because Facebook spies on you, about 20 minutes after I told that story to Cassie, I got it in my feed. Somebody had shared that yesterday as well. So I was just like, you're spying on me, Facebook. Stop spying on me. It's ridiculous. Speaking of Facebook and spying, according to this article I'm seeing on military.com, but there's a lot of other articles talking about it as well. Department of Homeland Security wants to collect big tech users' personal data, including subpoenas for ICE-related criticism. According to the New York Times, which I guess they're getting this information from, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security has requested personal information of online users who have been critical of U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. The Times reported that names, email addresses, telephone numbers, and other identifying data behind social media accounts that track or criticize ICE have been requested as part of hundreds of administrative subpoenas issued by the federal agency in recent months based on information provided by 4 government officials and tech employees. Reports have been corroborated by said companies to military.com. Some of the largest companies in the world that possess data for hundreds of millions of Americans have been contacted, including Google, Meta, which obviously owns Facebook and Instagram, Reddit, and Discord. Military.com reached out for comment to all those companies, as well as DHS and the White House. White House deferred remarks to DHS. DHS did not respond to an inquiry by press time. Some Americans' ire towards the agency, whatever, hit a boiling point in recent weeks following the murders, I'm saying murders, of 2 Minneapolis people, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, by ICE agents. Local and national protests have led some government officials like Border Czar Tom Homan from the city to ease tensions and tactically shift the, the criticisms or whatever. Donald Trump has said that perhaps agents should have a softer touch. Well, no shit, huh? When it comes to immigration enforcement. Of course, Donald Trump is the one who said you should shoot protesters in the leg when he was wanting to go out and have an upside-down Bible holding, whatever that was back during his first term. These administration subpoenas are dangerous. Government can use them to compel disclosure of your personal information, even when no suspicion exists that you committed a crime, said Greg Noam, senior counsel and director of the Security and Surveillance Project at the Center for Democracy and Technology. ICE is apparently using them to silence people who speak out. Tech companies should be more transparent about the number of these subpoenas that they are receiving, and Congress should hold hearings on how ICE is using administrative subpoena authority. Of course, February 14th, New York Times reported that Google, Meta, and Reddit complied with some subpoena requests in which said companies were asked identifying details of accounts that do not have a real person's name attached and that have criticized ICE or pointed to the location of ICE agents. The publication saw 2 subpoenas that were sent to Meta over the past 6 months. While these tech companies do not have to provide information, the Times reported that some of them notified people in government's interest and provided them a 10 to 14 days to fight the subpoena in court. Google spokesperson said, when we receive a subpoena, our review process is designed to protect user privacy while meeting our legal obligations. We inform users when their accounts have been subpoenaed, unless other legal orders to not, or in an exceptional circumstance. We review every legal demand and push back against those that are overbroad. Google supposedly told military.com. I mean, I guess they did tell them at military.com, but whether or not they actually do push back is, up to what your opinion might be of these tech giants who have unfortunately been kissing Donald Trump's ass recently. Google's U.S. presence is vast. Data as recent as January 2026 says that Google holds 83.4 to 88% of search engine market share. Discord has a large international community with 656 million registered users and 259 million monthly active users. Blah, blah, blah. Reddit does not force users to submit personal information, including names or even email addresses, nor does it automatically verify information provided by users. Training mechanisms in place to handle subpoenas. Supposedly, Meta has training to handle the subpoenas. Of course, do you trust them? I don't think so. The point is, shouldn't have been. Thank you, Alyosha, for the bits. The point should be not that these people are trained to handle these subpoenas properly. It's that government should not be requesting these subpoenas in the first place. This is a First Amendment issue, and the ACLU basically said that they have press releases about related incidents, one in a case from a month involving Philadelphia area man who challenged a Trump administration subpoena issued to Google seeking information about his identity and home address after he sent an email to DHS criticizing their treatment of a man seeking asylum from Afghanistan. The individual, according to ACLU, has read the story on the Washington Post and wrote his email to DHS urging the agency to apply principles of common sense and decency in its treatment of asylum seekers. About 2 weeks afterwards, the man was notified of the subpoena. 2 DHS agents and a local police officer showed up and interrogated him at his residence. In a democracy, contacting your government about things you feel strongly about is a fundamental right. Identified the man who's currently only identified as John Doe in this article back on February 3rd. Between February 3rd and 10th, the man was able to quash the subpoena after challenging it in court on a basis of First Amendment violations. The DHS was forced to withdraw. But here's the thing. They shouldn't have been asking in the first place. This is what fascist regimes do. This is an administration run by fascists, and they want to silence your free speech by making sure that you are afraid to speak out, regardless of whether or not you're speaking out in criticism of ICE, which I do all the damn time, and or if you're actually saying, hey, ICE has a presence in this community. ICE, there's currently an ICE raid going down right now. Whatever it is that they're reporting, individuals should have every absolute right to be able to speak their mind and say it, because these things shouldn't be classified. These things aren't anything that the government should be able to prevent you from doing. But they're going to try anyway, because that's what fascists do. And so I am calling on every single person possible. And of course, my reach is currently limited. But, because, amount of people that watch Liberal and Radio talk from the left, that's right. I would love for it to be larger, but we're not. But I am urging everybody to get out there and flood the zone. Go flood the zone with ICE criticism. Flood the zone with ICE presence, whatever. ICE is here, ICE is there, ICE is everywhere. Wherever you want to say that they are, go flood the zone. Make it extremely impossible for them to be able to handle all of it that's going on. Because the harder you make it on them to try and squash our First Amendment rights of free speech, the harder time that they will have in actually getting that done. If you show that you're not afraid of them, they'll be less likely to be able to scare anybody else. So we, again, flood the zone with as much criticism of ICE as possible to make sure that they know that we oppose everything that's going on and we are not going to tolerate governmental bullying. It's as simple as that. Interested in a game. I missed the AI Diddy. You missed, if at the beginning of the show, I always play a couple of the AI ditties. But if, can you imagine if, Joe Biden had missed the AI ditty?
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden
That's, of course, an AI Diddy, D-I-T-T-Y, versus an AI Diddy, D-I-D-D-Y, which would be something completely different that nobody wants to see at all, and probably involves lotion and illegal activities. Oh, my. Or was it baby oil? I don't know. Hey, Tim, good to see you. Hey, Bill, thank you for being a liberal Danimal for 9 months. Appreciate your support. If I don't know if I said hello to Big Hook, but hello to Big Hook. Greetings and salutations to you. So let's see. There's that from DHS. What else is going on? James Tallarico and Equal Time. As we all probably know, the equal time rule is supposedly between the Colbert and CBS fight that's going on currently. It's expanded beyond the previous of we're just not going to re-up your contract type deal. But CBS barred him from airing an interview with Texas Democrat running for Senate over a Trump administration directive. Of course, the Trump administration directive. Public notice, FCC's Media Bureau provides guidance on political equal opportunities requirement for broadcast television stations. The FCC's Media Bureau herein provides guidance on the application of the statutory equal opportunities requirement and the bona fide news exemptions to broadcast television stations, including their airing of late night and daytime talk shows. Background: decades ago, Congress made the decision to prevent covered broadcast television programs from being used to advertise certain partisan political purposes, specifically through Section 315 of the Communications Act of 1934. As amended, Congress put protections in place to ensure equal access to broadcast station facilities. For legally qualified candidates for office, regardless of political affiliation, a person is legally qualified candidate for purposes of FCC equal opportunities or equal time rule if they meet certain requirements, including having publicly announced their intention to run for office and qualifying under applicable state or federal law to hold office being sought. Under Section 315, if a broadcast station permits any legally qualified candidate for public office to use its facilities, it shall provide an equal opportunity to all other legally qualified candidates for that office. The statutory requirement and the corresponding FCC rules seek to ensure that no legally qualified candidate for office is unfairly given less access to the public airwaves than their opponent. Furthermore, the Commission's political file rules state that when free time is provided for use by or on behalf of a candidate, a record of the free time provided shall be placed in the political file. Any such free use broadcast time by a legally qualified candidate would require the broadcaster to place a record in its online political file as soon as possible. Other legally qualified candidates can then submit an equal opportunity request. The FCC has determined equal opportunities generally mean that a broadcaster must provide comparable time and placement to opposing legally qualified candidates. Adherence to these requirements is central to a broadcast licensee's obligation to operate in the public interest. In 1959, in an effort to increase news coverage of political campaign activity, Congress adopted certain limited exceptions to the equal opportunities requirement. Specifically, Section 315 was amended to exempt from the equal opportunities requirement appearances by a legally qualified candidate on any bona fide newscast, bona fide news interview, bona fide news documentary, or on-the-spot coverage of bona fide news events, including but not limited to political conventions and activities incidental thereto. Congress provided the Commission the discretion to determine the scope of each exemption. The inclusion of bona fide in each category, however, reflects congressional concern that broadcast stations would apply the exemption too broadly in service of a political agenda and therefore frustrate the original purpose for equal opportunities to maximize broadcast coverage on political events. Accordingly, with considering the scope of the exemption, blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Latex drool music. Thank you for that. See, the federal opportunities regulations to operate or prevent broadcast television stations which have been given access to valuable public resources, namely spectrum, from unfairly putting their thumbs on the scale for one political candidate or set of candidates over another. These regulations, which do not apply to cable channels or other forms of distribution, represent in codified form the decision by Congress that broadcast television stations have an obligation to operate in the public interest, not in any narrow partisan political interest. In 2006, the FCC's media bureau determined that the interview portion of The Tonight Show with Jay Leno qualified for an equal opportunities exemption as a bona fide news interview. This was the first time such a finding had been applied to a late-night talk show, which is primarily for entertainment. Blah, blah, blah. Concerns have been raised. The industry has taken the Media Bureau's 2006 staff-level decision to mean that interview portions of all arguably similar entertainment programs, whether late night or daytime, are exempted from Section 315. Yada, yada, yada. Reagan killed the fairness doctrine supposedly in 1987, but that doesn't necessarily destroy, I guess, the equal opportunities. I don't know. So we're going to go big picture, back to Axios. CBS said its attorneys warned that airing the interview would trigger what's known as the equal time rule, which critics, including the FCC lone Democrat, argue is being used to stifle free speech. Colbert said on the air that the lawyers told the show they could not feature James Tallarico, a Texas state representative, on the broadcast. Colbert suggested that this was due to FCC's equal time rule, which requires broadcast networks and radio stations to give equal time to candidates in an election. I was told in some uncertain terms that not only could I not have him on, I couldn't mention having him on. The interview is available on the YouTube channel, which is also not subject to the same equal time requirements because it's not a broadcast portion. It is just simply YouTube, where we are. So we're not required to give equal time either, although we will give time to other sides of the aisle, and we would give time to any candidate and their opponents if they decided that they were going to want to be interviewed here by Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from left, that's right. Tallarico is running for the primary against Jasmine Crockett as Democrats hope to flip the Senate seat in Texas. CBS said in a statement it received legal guidance that airing the interview could obligate it to offer Crockett equal time. Oh no, you would be obligated to give Crockett equal. And I question whether or not their legal representation is correct and their legal guidance is correct. But even if it under abundance of caution, why not give both of them equal time? Why not allow both of them to come on the show? I mean, I have no problem with Tallarico. I love Jasmine Crockett, so why not have both? And whoever comes out of that primary, the victor, into the general election, I hope either one of them wins, because we need to flip Texas. The sole Democrat on the FCC called CBS's move censorship. This is yet another troubling example of corporate capitulation in the face of administration's broader campaign to censor and control speech. Again, another example of the administration, basically trampling all over free speech rights. FCC has no lawful authority to pressure broadcasters for political purposes. It's no secret that Paramount, CBS's parent company, has regulatory matters before the government, but corporate interests cannot justify retreating from airing newsworthy content. FCC did not respond to the Axios' reply. History of the equal time rule, how it works. Equal time requires broadcasters to give equal opportunity. Originates from Section 18 of the Radio Act of 1927. We went over the exemptions that can exist. Recent changed Brendan Carr, President Trump's FCC chairman pick, issued guidance reinterpreting the bona fide exemptions, specifically referencing late night and daytime talk shows. The guidance said use of broadcast airtime by a legally qualified candidate would require the broadcaster to place a record in an online political file so other legally qualified candidates can submit an equal opportunity request, which of course goes against the previous ruling or whatever. But again, this is because Donald Trump hates late time broadcasters because they make fun of his poor fragile ass. He can't handle it. Maybe they make him so upset and give him such indigestion that he might shit himself again. Colbert called equal time the FCC's most time-honored rule right after no nipples at the Super Bowl. Let's see. Fox News recently reported the FCC launched an equal time probe into The View for its own Tallarico interview. Let's be clear on what this is. Gomez said this is government intimidation, not an illegitimate investigation. Adam Bonin, a Philadelphia-based lawyer specializing in political law, wrote on social media that Carr is leveraging his position to force late-night and daytime shows to exclude Democratic candidates. When one candidate does something newsworthy, you're not required to interview everyone. CBS could choose to fight this, but they're choosing not to. So again, just another example of this fascist administration trying to prevent and stifle free speech, and also trying to prevent and stifle Democrats. And look, if CBS wanted to play it safe, why not just have Colbert interview both? But, CBS didn't really give a shit about it anyway, because they're canceling Colbert anyway, because they're caving and capitulating and whatever else you want to call it into the whims of this fascist administration. So Back to the Jesse Jackson thing. Ice, I do not like them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or where. I do not like them anywhere. Which I'll have to come up with a parody of the green eggs and ham and make it like, you know, something like something bacon and ice. I don't know. Pork, some pork product, cop joke. I don't know. Trusted every game. So Trump is literally censoring the media right now. Can all of those people who thought Trump was more fit for office than Biden please apologize now, because fuck them. They own this. Exactly. They do. By the way, Axios is hot garbage. And I've criticized Axios before, but I saw nothing wrong with that specific article as written. See, what's up, Fan San? Good to see you. Hey, Trisha. Good to see you as well. Let's see. Oh, I don't know what I just did there, but I fixed it. 22 viewers, 23 likes. So everybody on YouTube has done a good job currently, at least, hopefully. It's possible that one or two might not have liked the channel, liked the stream or whatever. But, you know, just make sure, if you haven't smashed that like button, please remember to smash that like button. Hard. Don't break your keyboard, though. See, is Donnie the first U.S. president that shits himself on the regular? I mean, it's possible Reagan might have done it. I don't know. If had Biden done it, MAGA would shit, or if had Biden shit himself, I don't know how that would work.
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, that scream foul play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Anyway, so Bill P. Crockett has been on his show 2 times already. Okay, and now that just makes CBS even worse. That just makes the whole CBS thing even worse, because now they're trying to claim that, you know, oh, it's equal time. Well, if equal time would then give the other guy two airings on the show live, right? So I don't know. Bill will be 68 years old next week, and then next year you'll be 69. Nice.
Oh my.
Anyway. So, something is removing my post from time to time. I don't know what something would be. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Y'all, it's Trump. Trump is they're trying to censor you, Big Hook. They're trying to come in and squash you. Hey, Leanne Geyer, so good to see you. Hello, I'm so excited I finally caught you live. Hello, everyone. Excited to be with you too. Thank you so much, Leanna. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. I mean, one of the most generous super chatters in Liberal Dan Radio history is Leanna Geyer. So thank you so much and I appreciate everything you do for the show. Jeff is like, he ate 6'7". It's so funny how much they my oldest kid hates the whole 6'7" thing. So I make it a point to point, oh look, 6'7", 6'7", 6'7". So hey Michael, good to see you. Hey Vanessa, good to see you as well. MSM is dying more and more, and we have to rely on independent journalists on YouTube and Substack. Yes, we do, and I need to work on my Substack more. I really should, but I've been easing into the new job. If you weren't listening earlier when I talked about it, I do have a new job. I did find myself gainful employment, and it's even better paying than my last position. So yay! So there it is. Oh, Bill's 6'7" right now. There you go. There, you're 6'7". Haha. Can you imagine if Biden had tried to censor Big Hook?
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, that scream foul play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Jolie, you stole atrocious every game's thunder. So, let's see. Whatchamacallit. There's something else I wanted to talk about, and I don't. Oh yeah, the other thing about the Save Act. Yeah, atrocious every game. Someone else framed the Biden song, and it wasn't me. I'll take it. Yep. So, one of the things that, you know, again, one of the things I wish that government would be required to do as a whole, and some state governments do it this way. I wish the federal government was required to do this, and I've talked about this. I think I spoke about this a little bit the last show. I think specifically when it comes to the SAVE Act, which is, I would love to be able to see when you have a document that says, here is the law. Here's the amendments to the law that we're going to do. Instead of drafting a whole new law, like if you're going to like amend this law to say this, amend this part of this law to say this, amend this part of this law to say, instead of having to go and try and hunt down every little part of the law that's being amended to see what it is, government should be required to produce what the new law would look like if the legislation passed. Therefore, you could know for certain what's being said about the law is true, or if what's being said about the law is fiction, or if what's being said about the law is, imperfectly correct, but still mostly right, yada, yada, yada. Because as of right now, I'm just inclined to believe what a lot of the intelligent people are saying about the SAVE Act, which is the requirements that it's going to have on individuals, on people who are going to need to get a passport, on people who are going to have to do to take some other form or action, or get some other additional form of photo ID on top of what they already have to be able to cast their legal right, to utilize their legal right to vote. So, to me, it makes sense that that's what a conservative administration with a Republican Congress and all these people would want, is because there is a history amongst the Republicans and Republican Party for years, even before Trump ran for office, of trying to make it harder and harder and harder for people to cast a vote. Here's the thing, though, is that whenever these Republicans come up with, when it as pertains to like the North Carolina law, that was the so-called voter ID law that didn't just require an ID to vote, but it also required other things to take place, including charging money for an ID to vote if you didn't already have one and you weren't getting one for a driver's license, unlike Louisiana, which provides them for free. They also did things like they specifically targeted or did a poll or a survey of how people vote, and then eliminated the ways that people voted based on race. So the more likely a black person was to use that particular form of voting, the more likely they were then to carve that out and not allow it to happen again, because they wanted to, again, make it harder for certain people to vote in that particular circumstance, black people to vote. In this particular circumstance, most of the people that will be affected will be women and their ability to cast a ballot in this case. And what the conservatives, what the MAGA folks, what these people will do in response is they'll try and make the argument, oh, Democrats don't think that black people are smart enough to get voter IDs. Democrats don't think that women are smart enough to be able to get a passport or get a new identification. No, that's not it at all. We just don't want people to have to jump through additional hoops beyond what everybody else has to do to be able to cast a valid ballot. And if what you have to do by some of these people is, oh, just go get a passport, no big deal. It is a big deal, because a passport, what costs? Like $130 or more? Plus whatever it is, you have to time and effort to go down and actually go get a passport and submit it at the proper locations. And this administration has specifically told not-for-profit, non-governmental libraries that used to handle passport applications, they've told them to stop taking passport applications, which means they're reducing the number of places where you can go submit your passport forms. So again, they're trying to make it harder for people to vote who they don't want voting. You've heard conservatives say all the time that they would, if you never had women's suffrage, then you'd always have Republicans getting elected. Even frickin' Ann Coulter said that women shouldn't have the right to vote because if they wouldn't have gotten the right to vote, then we'd have conservatives in office for all the livelong day. But even they want the electorate to be as old, as white, and now as male as possible, because that's the way they can keep control. That's the way that they can keep power. Nobody should have to jump through any additional hoops beyond what any other person who is a legal voter should have to jump through to pass, to get, to be able to use their right to vote. And again, the whole idea that this whole voter ID thing is going to be, is causing so many problems, it's not. You can go onto the Heritage Foundation's website. It's the Conservative Heritage Foundation. You can search their database of election fraud, and the amount of fraud that would have been prevented by requiring an ID if one wasn't given and one wasn't required to be given is infinitesimal. Would have not changed a single election. And the fixes to the so-called problem they believe have is going to cause more people to not be able to cast a ballot. So to them, if to them preventing 10 illegal votes, it's more important to them, even if it means stopping 1,000 people from voting. Right? Like, how does that maintain election integrity? Stopping 10 illegal ballots by preventing thousands more? It's absurd. It's ridiculous. It goes against even what the founders thought. You want to go back to the founders? The founders, was it Franklin had said, it's better for one guilty person to go free than to have 1,000 or 100 innocent people locked up in prison? People aren't taking the vast risks. Most people are not going to jump through whatever is required to cast an illegal ballot, because the end result or the reward of having an illegal ballot cast by you, the odds of it changing the outcome of an election is slim to none. And the punishment for that benefit of casting that one additional ballot is not worth the risk that you would take. So most people aren't going to do it. But again, the Republicans have managed to make this into a much bigger deal than it is. And when you have things like, for example, in Wisconsin passed a clean voter ID law. It had nothing other than you have to show who you are in order to cast the ballot. And it passed like 60-40. Democrats voted for it. Republicans voted for it. Independents voted for it. It was not that big of a deal because, unlike these other so-called voter ID laws, you actually had a situation where it was only a voter ID law and it passed comfortably. But even on like I've been putting my reels up on Facebook as well. Even recently, if you go to my TikTok channel, I have a couple of videos talking about these so-called voter ID laws and my issues with it. And even in those videos, I specifically state that despite the fact that I have no problem with the requirement to show an ID to vote, I take no issue with that. And my issue with these laws are, again, the other things that are shoehorned in the laws to specifically make it harder for people to vote. I'll have some dumbass, some moron who will come in and say, what's wrong with showing an ID? Or who will start telling me all the different ways that one needs to use an ID to buy alcohol, to buy cigarettes, to do various other things that one might need an ID for. When I literally just said that the morons are going to come in and comment on those things and say these things because that's not my issue. But Donald Trump did say that he loved the poorly educated after the 2016 Nevada primaries, and because he loves the poorly educated, those poorly educated people have to go out there and prove that they're still worthy of that love. And then, but they've come up with a new argument. The new argument is, oh, Democrats think black people are dumb, or we think women are dumb. No, we think that your rules are dumb. We don't think that these individuals should have to jump through the same, they should only have to jump through the same hoops that a cisgendered white male should have to jump through. If you have to jump through more hoops than somebody else, then that's not equal protection under the law, and the Constitution requires equal protection under the law. We're not trying to say that women are stupid. We're not trying to say that black people are stupid. We're trying to say that y'all are stupid because you don't understand what we're actually trying to say, despite the fact that we clearly and succinctly say it, and you choose not to listen to it, and instead choose to listen to morons and fascists like Donald Trump and his ilk. Simple as that. Ugh, I turned the air conditioning on finally today, and I'm still freaking sweating. So, MAGA doesn't acknowledge facts, needs checking when they are saying facts. Yeah, exactly. DB Golding, 5 years mandatory imprisonment. Fans said also a lot of the Republican support can't get their own ID stuff in order either. They'd hate having to bring it. Yeah, and in reality, when I think about it, if you look about, you're probably more likely to take your husband's name when you get married if you're a Republican versus a Democrat. Though granted, a lot of people on the left do end up taking their spouse's name for simplicity purposes or whatever. But I have a feeling that this will affect more people that are on the right than are on the left, and then you'll start getting a lot of pissed off Republican women who will no longer be able to vote if these things come to pass, right? Let's see. Problem with their plan is that quite dumb and Republicans are inclined to shoot themselves in both feet. If it's forced, it's much easier to make sure a lot of people in large cities register to vote instead of trying to go and register hundreds of small towns. How many divorcees have kept their marriage certificate, especially those married more than once? Right, exactly. A church at every game. We're not opposed to ID requirements. We're opposed to fucking poll taxes. Exactly. Voter fraud is much less frequent than shark attacks being struck by lightning. This is a crock of shit. Yep, exactly. I think as you were giving your TED Talk, I was giving my TED Talk too. Trump loves the poorly educated. The poorly educated love Trump. Yeah, Donald Trump specifically said, smart people don't like me, which is clear. Jolie says, I'm getting a passport just in case, and was... Anybody who should, I mean, even if you just needed to because you feel like you might have to flee the country one day, yes, you should be able to, you should get a passport if you can. But the point is you shouldn't have to. The point is that you, Jolie, or any other woman out there should not have to take a single step more than what I would have to do in order to cast a ballot. It's simple as that. So, a church game, oh my God, I think my passport expired. I need to fix that. We made sure to do that specifically. I think we made sure to do it in case we were going to go on any cruises, but we also specifically wanted to make sure like our kids had theirs just in case we would go on a cruise, but also just in case we, needed to run away from this fascist country that is these United States of America at this point. See. Jolie, however, if they require real ID, a state real ID is $9, which of course, again, you shouldn't require any real ID. It shouldn't require anything, or real ID should be free. If you're going to require if you don't have any other form of identification and you need to get that form of identification, both the ability to obtain your personal records and the ability of you to get that ID should come at zero cost. So. Yeah, Jolie says Indiana has been requiring ID to vote for 20 years. State IDs are free here. And that's the same with Louisiana. Louisiana IDs are also free if you need one. Let's see. Also, obtaining needed documents should be free as well. Yep, we said the same thing at the same time, I think, Fansan. Send out a free government-issued ID to everyone, no cost travel laws. Exactly, and that's what Mexico does. And every time I bring that up to conservatives, when conservatives are like, hey, but I'm like, hey, let's do what Mexico does. Everybody gets a free ID. When you turn 18 years old, you get a free ID. It shows that you are you, and there you go. And that's the end of it. And then they're like, oh, well, and then they'll start making up excuses as to why we can't do that. Oh, it's socialism. Well, fuck off. What do you want? You want to have, safe, fair elections, fair and free elections. You want to have protected elections, or do you want to, to just show us what your hand really is and tell us what your explanation really is. And again, most of the people who are the idiots who are commenting on posts like these are people who don't take the time to think about it. They just listen to what the Republicans tell them to do. They listen to Trump. They listen to all the other fools out there, and they say, "Oh, well, he's saying it, so it must be true." Dumbass. I mean, I don't believe that with my own politicians. Biden, I don't just believe Biden because he said something. I just go fact check it if it didn't seem right. Obama, same thing. Clinton, same thing. We always want to make sure to fact check every person, because how do you know a politician is lying? The lips are moving. What's the root of the word politics? Poly meaning many and ticks meaning small blood-sucking creatures. So, anyway. Imagine if Biden had said, I said so it must be true.
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, they'd scream foul play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
I was like, what is that computer sound? And I was like, oh, it's my work computer making a sound. It's not my making a sound. Okay. Anyway, so let's see. Oh, it's Lainey. Good to see you, Lainey. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. And anybody else I might have missed. Dawn, good to see you. Where's Impeccable Living? Again, yeah, Impeccable Living hasn't been coming around much recently. I don't know why. Hopefully he's having fun doing the stuff that he likes to do. So, anyway, let us go ahead and we will, it's only 9 o'clock here. Again, I didn't have too much time to plan much of the show because between Mardi Gras and my new job, I haven't been doing too much, but we will go ahead and open up the phone lines once I turn off Do Not Disturb. 562-LIBDAN1, 562-LIBDAN1, 562-542-3261. Apparently, I have some voicemails on my Liberal Dan Radio, the Liberal Dan Radio hotline. There are some voicemails on there. So apparently somebody gave somebody else the wrong phone number as to what their phone number would be. So apparently my phone number is close to somebody else's phone number. So it wasn't a big voicemail. Although, here's the thing. Here's an idea for a new bit that I want to do. And this is open to liberals or conservatives, independents or whatever. If you have something that you want me to respond to and you don't want to call in live, leave a voicemail. Leave me a voicemail message, and we can do a bit where we respond to viewers' phone calls. So leave a minute voicemail, make a comment, make a point, and as long as it's clean or clean enough to air, I'll be more than happy to air it and then respond to it as you will. So again, 562-LIBDAN1 would be that one as well. So let's see what else. Alton Gillespie's in the house. Good to see you, Alton. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Jeff said, I don't know what the hell's wrong with your phone, Jeff. You need a new phone because you're the only one that I've heard of that has that issue. So I mean, unless I inadvertently blocked you somehow, I don't know. What's the phone number? 562-LIBDAN1, 562-542-3261. Jolie did put it in both chats. So thank you, Jolie, for that. Ugh, I'm sweating. Ugh. Probably have to end the show sooner than normal simply because of the fact that I am warm. This is the warmest room in the house, and it's getting hot. And it's only February, but it's getting hot. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. Sorry. That's for Liberal Dan Radio After Dark, right? Oh, wait, you can't even hear that because I didn't even... That's for Liberal Dan After Dark, right?
Oh, my.
There you go. I don't know if everybody's waiting for you, Big Hook. Looked like Dawn might have been wanting to call in. But hey, Mike, good to see you. But anyway. Again, while we're waiting for the calls, remember, Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from Left, That's Right, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays here at liberaldanradio.com, which is the YouTube channel. Oh, that might be Dawn. Look at that. Let's see. Oh, we got Bill on the line. Good to hear from you, Bill. Thank you for supporting the show. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, doing great. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing all right. I mean, I got my new job. The show's growing. Just had Mardi Gras. Almost recovered from it, although my shin hurts from walking fast after that band that tried to push over my wife. But,
yeah.
You know, it is what it is. Anyway, what's going on, man? What you got to say?
I'm not much. Just sitting here watching the stupidity. Like you said, it is what it is.
Yeah. It's bizarre. I mean, like I just simply the whole like we want to no other president, I think, in the history, at least in recent history, while social media has been in existence, I don't think any other president has suggested that people should have their information dumped to the government just for saying that they don't like what government is doing. Now, if someone could provide me information that says that's wrong, I'm more than happy to correct myself live on the air. But I don't know if you'll be able to find it because I don't think it exists, because this is the most fascist administration I think we've had in the history of our administrations, and that says a lot. So
that's right. Well, the only governments that do that are authoritarian regimes. We've seen them for hundreds of years.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and that's what we have now. That's how Trump wants. Trump admires and loves dictators. So
I saw a picture today. Did you see the new mask and outfit that Tom Homan was modeling for DHS and ICE?
It wasn't the one with the ball gag, was it? That was made by AI.
I don't. Well, this doesn't have a ball gag, but
oh, okay. I saw that one. I don't know if I saw there. There might be another one. It said Tom Homan was an outfit.
Yeah, it's a whole outfit.
What is it? What was it with? Did it have like a big white hood or something on it? What was on it?
No, the hood's black. It's with the face mask on it. The face. It's kind of like one of those. I don't know what they call those that you pull up over your nose.
Wait, say it again. I just blanked out there for a second. What was it again?
It's like those that you pull up over your nose, from your chin up over your nose. I don't know the name of those masks.
Oh, okay.
We had one similar to it when I was in the military.
I haven't seen that one yet. I'm trying to look it up right now, and I haven't been able to see it yet. Although Tom Homan did say he doesn't like masks on officers, but I guess, you know, do as I say, not as I do, right?
Right.
So it's ridiculous. But hypocrisy is a conservative prerequisite, and we all know that, right?
That's right.
Hey, it's Trucker John is in the chat. Good to see you, Trucker John. Let me just
Hey,
make one point and say this.
John.
Make a point to say Trucker John does a great job, with the exception of my wife, who does make sure to like all of the things I post up on Facebook. Trucker John shares pretty much almost every single one, if not every single one of my videos, likes it and reposts it to his Progressive News Network or whatever Facebook page that he has. So shout out and kudos to Trucker John for helping that out. Appreciate you for that, John. So, and P-Dubs is also in the chat. Good to see you, P-Dubs. Thank you for joining us as well.
I saw some people were having problems having things that they posted taken down, and I've had a problem with YouTube for the past couple of days.
Huh.
I don't know if they repaired that problem or not. I switched phone companies. That might have been part of it too.
What'd you go from? What'd you go to?
I went to Xfinity. When I signed up for internet service, they gave me a year of free cell phone service, so I took it.
Can't beat that, right?
Now I would go with free.
Yeah. No. Nothing's better than free fitty, right?
That's right.
So anyway, anything?
That's pretty good tonight. Your talking points are right on point tonight, Dan.
Well, look, I have it all. I had it all lined up right in a row, pretty much. I use Google Keep a lot. Whenever I think of something, I just jump in my phone and put something in. Either let's look this up later, or here's a point that I want to say, and there you go. One of the things that I did want to say, I did forget to say this earlier on the show when I was talking about like whether or not I wanted to talk poor. I for some reason I got to. I remember saying that I was questioning whether or not I wanted to talk, you know, poorly about or be critical of some of the things that were taking place towards the end of my employment at my old firm, especially the decisions made by like the equity members of the firm or whatever. And part of it was I was hesitant on doing it simply because of the fact that I didn't want to burn bridges. But my new life motto is you can't burn a bridge if it's already sunken underwater. So
That's right.
So there you go. That's my new life motto right there. All right, you got anything else, Bill, to chime in with, or are we gonna move on?
No, that's all for tonight. I just wanted to say hi to everyone. Hi. Yeah, the last time I was on, someone wanted to know about my accent. They were trying to figure out where I was from, and I have a West Texas accent, like a cowboy.
Right. So, all right, man. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you. And if I don't talk to you before, happy upcoming 68th birthday.
Yeah, I'm getting old, buddy. The white hair's taking over.
I feel like I don't know if you saw the other show the other day where I had the full on beard or whatever, but it was like there was that line going up my cheek or whatever, and I was like, I'm just gonna just shave back down to a goatee to be able to have my smoother cheeks, and then, you know, so it doesn't look like I'm having this big line up my face, although it still looks like I just have half of a goatee at this point. It's not, if you look at it like without the lighting above me, it's actually like I'm actually less gray than what I look, but for some reason the lighting makes this part of my face look just like super gray, which then makes me look like I have half of a goatee, like right here.
Well, my beard's really long right now. I look like I swallowed a skunk.
So anyway, well, thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate you. All right, have a great one. Peace out.
Have a good week.
You too, man. Bye-bye. All right, now it's Bill. Thank you so much, Bill, for calling up again. As I forget to always forget to do this. I always forget to not hide. I always forget to hide the call-in number when somebody's on the phone. But again, 562-LIBDAN1, 562-LIBDAN1, 562-542-3261. Support to call into the show, ask me a question, leave a comment, say how wonderful I am. Say, even if you think I'm doing a shitty job, just, hey, do that too. But just be nice about it, right? So, there we go. There's another caller on the phone, and that caller is from Canada itself, the Great White North. Big Hook, Big Hook. What's going on, man? Good to hear from you. How's your day?
Not too bad. Just figured I would call in and see if my recap was the same as yours.
Your kneecap or your recap? Just kidding. Anyway, go ahead.
My recap, yeah. I wish the kneecap was as good as the recap.
Yeah.
I don't know. They said that they were ramping down with ICE in Minnesota there, and that doesn't appear to be true at all. I mean, I'm not sure if you saw that video where the guy was saying that ICE was chasing school children in a parking lot. You know, I mean, this is just, you know, out of this world stuff. You know, I mean, I don't know what it's going to take to stop this stuff, because you can't defund them. They've already got a $75 billion slush fund that they can still operate from. I mean, and they just keep pushing like they want a civil war. And that's what's
well, that's what they want in order to have a civil war. I mean, if they do that, if they get people riled up enough to start taking, you know, actions that are beyond just protests, and they actually start, you know, whatever, that's what Trump wants. They want to do that because they want to make sure that they can, you know, use the Insurrection Act and be able to use force against American citizens, because that's what they want to do. They want to violently quash people and make Renee Good and Alex Preddy look like, you know, child's play. First of all, but before you say anything more, thank you so much, Leanna, for the $99.99 super chat. Appreciate you for that. She says, going in for kidney cancer surgery March 5th, so I have to do my part to help support you, which I believe. Thank you so much, and I really hope that the surgery goes well and they are able to help you with whatever it is that needs to get done to help have that cancer going into remission, etc. So thank you so much. If there's anything I can do, like spreading out, like, you know, GoFundMe or whatever, for if you have any needs on that part, just please let us know. You know we will do that for you, Leanna, as we would do for anybody else. So thank you so much. Anyway, Trucker John goes, what's so civil about war? Nothing, but, you know.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I really worry because, I mean, I won't go down to the States because of all the turmoil that I see there, not to mention the fact that the minute they see a Canadian plate, you know that they're going to target you.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, you know, and that's the thing. We are not going to forget what has happened here, and you guys will easily need 1 to 2 decades to get any trust back, and that means that you're going to have successive Democratic presidencies, one right after the other, to regain the trust of the world. Because at this point, all bets are off. Everybody looks at the U.S. and says, "Yeah, they're a captured state by Putin and Russia at this point," because all this stuff is meant to, you know, take over everything, whether it be the media, whether it be the police, whether it be the military, whether it be international trade. You know, I mean, there's nothing that makes any sense. I mean, the EPA saying, "Oh, we're going to stop all rules and you can pollute as much as you possibly want." You know, you got the data centers there going around getting all the electricity more expensive, so that way your cost of living is way beyond your means. I mean, not to mention the fact that they're destroying the water supplies that are there that are supposed to be for the residents. You've got the detention centers that are going up, trying to be used. I mean, these are warehouses that were designed to only store boxes, not for 10,000 human beings. I mean, you talk about cruelty.
Yep.
That is disgusting. I mean, we thought it was bad when they said, oh, they're putting 60 and 70 people to a cell, and there's barely enough room for any of them to even lie next to each other to sleep. And then there's only one toilet in the room, which is open air. You know, I mean, like.
Well, I mean, you'd think that people who like to think that they are, you know, fiscally conservative, supposedly, or whatever. Fiscal conservatism has gone out the window these days. They don't give a shit about fiscal conservatism. But you'd have to think, like, the people who would like at least try and claim that back in the day, who are still supporting Trump, like, they want to build multiple sites that could house more people who are going to be inmates or whatever. And then if these are going to be temporary facilities, supposedly, then, you know, they're not going to just build it temporarily. They're going to have these sites built. And then, you know, when they're done dealing with people, then they're going to have to find more people to put into those places to begin with, to make sure that they still have a use for those existing facilities. And what's that going to become? That's going to become concentration camps. And the people who can't see it are just blind to history. They're just absolutely blind to history, and they need to go be re-educated, because they don't understand, or maybe they weren't even educated in the first place, because we already have a crap ton of people in this country who are like, was it millennials or younger, who maybe not even the millennials, maybe like the Gen Y folks who and younger, who don't even know that the Holocaust even happened, or think that, oh, it was only a couple 100,000 and not 6 million Jews and 6 million others. Like, these people are just so woefully and inadequately uneducated, and that's what's going to allow these people to get to 1940s Germany before we know it. And then,
yeah, but that's the thing. Right now, you currently have as many as what were in the concentration camps in Germany already in concentration camps via the ICE detentions, and that's just it. You don't realize it, but you're already there. And the thing is that and they're not only detention centers, they're torture centers, because what they're trying to do is make life so unbearable for these people that they will sign a release to self-deport. You know, and that's just it. So between all these people that are fighting over rotten food in a situation where they're being, you know, forced to congregate in unsanitary conditions, as well as no change of clothes, no toilet, dirty water that isn't safe to drink, so that they're not only are they miserable, but now they're getting sick and they're being refused medical care, and then they're being, you know, and I mean, this is just it. I mean, they had that person already that went in, and he was perfectly healthy, and guess what they did? They waited until he was absolutely sick, and then they went and they deported him. Right. And they put him on a plane to another country, so that way, and the doctors, when they got him, said, he's too far gone, he's dead. You know, like, this is the cover-up that is happening right now. And the thing is that that's only one story. So I can only imagine that it's way more broad than we currently know and can expect. And that's just it, you know. So at this point, I don't know where to go with this. I mean, other than, you know, maybe a civil war is the only answer, but, you know, but then the other thing is like, subpoenas for social media to get accounts of people who have protested ICE on their social media, giving away their telephone number, their address, their employers, their, you know, all this sort of stuff. I mean, you want to talk about infringement of privacy as well as everything else. And, you know, these are billionaires who have officially suckered you in, thinking that you were safe and that your details were sacred and non-compromisable, and are giving it up willingly to this administration, who is then going to turn around and weaponize it against you. You know, I mean, you guys, you are already in a fascist country now. I mean, that's it. You live with an authoritarian who is playing all the scenarios out now. I mean, he's captured the media. He's going to. He's now got the social media stuff, you know, and all that stuff, and he's got a naughty list that he's going to go around and he's going to start persecuting everybody.
Well,
And
that's why I said
just
I don't know if you caught it early in the show, but when I was talking about the whole, you know, social media things and them, you know, requesting or demanding the data from them, I was like, we need to, in order to combat that, you know, we need to speak out about it, but we also got to flood the zone. We need more people talking about ICE. We need more people, you know, criticizing ICE. We need more people reporting what ICE is doing to make it even harder for them to actually, you know, pinpoint any one particular person. And also, we need to make sure that, we should to embolden the other people to do what's needed, because the more people who stand up and speak out about, you know, the horribleness of this administration, other people will then be empowered to speak out. And you were, you know, bringing up, you know, the concentration camps, how more people now or before, like, you know, we had, 6 million Jews and 6 million others were killed during the Holocaust at the concentration camps. Doesn't mean they were all there at once. But like when the camps were liberated, it might have been like 400,000 or 500,000 people, and less than half of those were Jewish. So they decimated, you know, the entirety of Europe for that. We have 11 to over 15 million people here who are undocumented migrants here in this country. You know, again, so you're going to have to find many more warehouses like the one in San Antonio somebody just brought up that, you know, was purchased specifically for you know, housing or processing. But what does processing mean? Is processing really going to mean just get into port, or what's processing going to turn into? We've learned history. We know from history that can say that if processing doesn't mean, if we can't get them shipped out, what else is that going to happen to them? They're going to be shipped somewhere, and if they're not shipped out on a plane, they're going to be shipped out in a box, or worse, as of just a pile of ashes or just mass graves, because that's what we're going to start seeing, because this administration doesn't give a crap about lives or humanity or anything like that. All they care about is their racism, their bigotry, their xenophobia, etc. And the more people who are silent about it, the more people are you know, the more they're going to enable it to happen, which is, again, why we need to be loud, we need to be vocal, we need to go to as many protests as you can. Look, like, I hadn't gone to the previous two because of my health issues with my leg. If my leg's fully healed by the time March 28th rolls around, I will absolutely go to the next one, simply because of the fact that, you know, everybody needs to do what they can to help spread the word, to help fight this bullshit that this administration is doing, because that's basically what it is. There's a whole bunch of racist, xenophobic, bigoted bullshit, and they're going to at some point, if we learn from history, because we know they've learned from history, because if you've listened to the show long enough, plenty of other people have listened to the show long enough, we've been talking about for a very long time how Donald Trump has followed Adolf Hitler's playbook in taking power. So they've learned on how to grasp power. Now they're going to follow him how to keep power, and that includes imprisoning and or killing your political enemies, which also includes scapegoating the people who you can scapegoat and turn into others. So,
yeah, but here's the thing, okay? ICE is using the dirtiest tactics now. They're pretending to be dainty little women out there with their car not working, hoping that migrant people will stop and offer help. And they're going after those people. So an act of good intention is now being punished, you know, and being used as a tactic. They're posing as contractors. They're putting those magnetic things there saying that they're contractors. They're switching the plates on their cars, you know, constantly. They're using older vehicles now. They're going and posing as food delivery drivers, as well as Amazon and other drivers, knocking on the door, hoping and then pretending to be FedEx people and pretending that they need a signature so that way you'll open the door. You know, I mean, this stuff is the worst. This is as unlawful as you possibly get. So if you tell me that they're operating under the law, they're operating as criminal as fuck. And that's just it. They are all criminals.
The Nazis operated under the law too. Legal doesn't always mean moral, and moral doesn't always mean legal. So, and of course, they'll try and obfuscate the law. What is it? Jeff Curry says in chat, I saw a black ICE person. What the fuck was he thinking? The same thing that the Hispanic ICE people are thinking. Nothing. They're not thinking. They're not using their heads, and they're basically being traitors to humankind. People like to say that their own, a black person working for ICE, a Hispanic person working for ICE, or race traitors or ethnicity traitors or whatever. If you work for ICE, you're a traitor to humanity. That's what it comes down to, because you have to understand that you are being a vile human being working for this administration to do that particular job specifically. You're basically telling the world that just for a little extra money, you're more than willing to treat people like utter garbage, and that's as Trump says.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Anyway.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. At this point, it's out of control. And the other thing is as Texas Paul said, yes, we can vote, but what happens if the vote doesn't change things?
Right.
And that's the thing. And at this point, if your vote is going to then be used to target you later on, and I mean, this is what he was subtly saying was, exercise your Second Amendment.
Right.
Go out.
The further you go to the left, you get your gun. The further you go to the left, you get your guns back, and that's why I am not anti-Second Amendment. I am pro, reasonable, restrictions on gun sales, but I am not anti-Second Amendment here, and I haven't been for a very long time. But yeah, it's just, I even lost my train of thought. But go ahead.
Well,
I know what I was going to say is that earlier on MSNBC, telling people, someone was making the point, this is a good point that one of the guests was talking about, telling people to go vote in November is not enough, because you need to tell people what they need to do now. And every single week, every single day, every single month, what people need to be doing from now till election time as action items, not just politically, but to help their fellow human beings, to stand up and fight back against this tyranny, this administration, this authoritarianism, this fascism. We need to be telling people what they need to do now through November and beyond.
Well, not only that, but then the other thing is that they're saying already that he's almost got another 10,000 of these supposedly trained ICE officers that are going to go out there soon, and that's just it.
Trained.
So
I mean, trained.
Yeah, I know. It's it's an oxymoron, because they're not, and that's the thing. So at this point, I don't know what's going to happen. I hope for the best for you guys, but we are looking at you here in Canada and saying, what the fuck is going on? You guys, I'm sorry, but you still can't convince me that he did not fucking rig that election and that Elon Musk had something to do with it. You know what? At this point, all bets are off. And now the question is how is he going to rig this one? And that's just it. And
right.
Like I said in the chat, Thune is already proposing that what they're going to do is they're going to put the SAVE Act in a spending bill and then try and run it through that way in the Senate. Something that is desperately needed and can't be refused. And then he's going to try and ram that through so that way they can do it again. So if you don't sit there and think that you're safe and that the SAVE Act is not going to be potentially enacted, because they're going to try and find some workaround one way or the other, because these guys are sycophants and they're cowards. They won't stand up and they won't do the job that they were elected to do, which is to basically hold power accountable and to say no when it infringes upon their citizens' rights. And the right to vote is essential in any democracy. And if somebody's taking that away from you, you know, that's the greatest. That's right up there with, you know, stealing your wife and fucking her in front of you. You know, I mean, that's as far as I can tell. I mean, you don't.
Unless that's your kink, but we're not going to talk that about. Maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit Radio After Dark. But you know,
yeah, I know.
I mean,
but
conservatives
you know
are obsessed. I know. I mean, conservatives are obsessed with cuckoldry, though, too, because they call everybody cucks, and usually conservative accusations are confessions. So it makes me wonder what the conservatives are doing, you know, on their free nights, right? So
yeah, but the thing is that we have seen what these people in power are capable of, because it's all being shown to us in little bits and pieces, and we're putting the pieces together through the Epstein files. I mean, we're seeing all these horrible things that he did, and now, I mean, the one revelation that sickened me was, oh, gee, well, why does Jeffrey Epstein need 300 gallons of sulfuric acid? Gee, what? Let me think. Just body disposal?
right.
You know, like, and this is it. All these people, this is what they do. You know, they disappear people. You know, and and the same thing. You know, Jeffrey Epstein said, "Oh, I like the girls who can't speak English because, you know, they got nothing. They can't communicate. They can't ask for help. They can't ask for anything. They are basically subservient because they have no other option. You know." They're there by themselves. They're just basically going mentally ill right in front of them as they're being tortured and being forced to do all these unspeakable things to gratify this sick motherfucker that should have faced justice well over 20 fucking years ago when people started reporting it. You know, and I mean, that's just it. But
big hook. The Dow's over 50,000. That makes it all better, right? It's absurd. Because
it means the billionaires are making money hand over fist. It doesn't mean anybody else is making any money.
And this is the lie. And this is the
increase it.
I might go into this more on Thursday's show because I do want to maybe speak more about this one, and I forgot to put it in my notes for today. But the whole idea, they want to say oh, well, it helps so many people, 401ks help so many people, and they'll talk about the number of people who are invested in the stock market with their 401ks, ignoring the fact that still doesn't make up a huge chunk of, or the vast majority of the people who are benefited. The amount of money that is benefited by the stock market being over 50 grand is relatively few comparatively to the amount of people who might have a few shekels in their 401ks. So, but people, again, Donald Trump loves the poorly educated, and Donald Trump said no intelligent person likes him, and we all know why. So,
well, remember when the conservatives said, "Oh, we're all about anti-abortion, save the children."
No, they want to save the
measles outbreak going in the detention center there in Dilley with all the kids there. They've got over 3,000 kids all shoved into that center, and there is sickness going around with insufficient facilities, as well as insufficient medical care, as well as insufficient nutrition, as well as just think of the mental torture that these children are undergoing.
Yep.
I mean, and this is it. This is what the conservatives voted for. They voted for this shit to happen because they thought, oh, it's going to happen to the libs. It's not going to happen to us. So it's going to happen to those brown people that do all the jobs that we're unwilling to do. I mean,
it's becoming more and more apparent to me, though, with the whole, anti-abortion, pro-life thing. It's the only reason they don't want abortions to take place is because they want more victims to rape. They want more targets. They want more people who they can rape, and the best way to do that is to make sure.
Well, not only that, but it creates the helplessness that is necessary for them to feel good about themselves, because they think, oh, I'm above this person because I created a situation where they will never be able to get out of the trap that I forced them into because they had children that they didn't want and now are forced to support. And because they aren't able to get a post-secondary education and get a good job or anything else. And because we're giving the billionaires all these tax breaks, it means that nobody has an acceptable standard of living. And I mean, misery is what I want to see everywhere. I just want to walk around and watch other people who are even more miserable than I am, and that makes me happy. Oh,
Right.
gee, where the fuck did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that's, I can shake my head all I want, but I mean, the fact of the matter is, and that's the thing, this is one of the problems. Like, I know Wajahat Ali and Danielle Moody and others have been talking about it. It's not enough. The Democrats want to take us back to just normal. I agree. We have to elect everyone that we possibly can, so that way we can get control of the levers of power and force, Trump to basically, yield to what the law says. But the other problem is that you're losing more and more of the good people.
Yep.
All the ones that were ethical within the DOJ are all resigning. All the people that, the courts are overloaded with cases, and there's no way of possibly getting through them all, And then on top of that, he went and he fired all the asylum claim judges and replaced them with, JAGs, And I'm sure that they were selected based upon the willingness to basically say, yeah, no, you're gone. Yeah, no, you're gone. I don't care what your argument is, you're gone. So I don't know. I
feel you.
If I sound crazy, it's because I feel like I'm going crazy because I see stuff and I can't do anything about it. All I can do is speak up and hope that other people can, make the change. I can't do any more than I can other than talking about what I see and whatnot. I mean, I don't know, Dan. I don't know. Anyway, I've said more than I should, and I've given some ideas out there. I hope you guys can employ them and do whatever. But, I mean, you guys are living in a fascist country now. There's no two ways about it. The rest of the world sees it. And, if you haven't realized it yet, it's time to wake up and smell the coffee and face facts and start taking steps. I don't know what those steps will be for you. Exercising your Second Amendment is probably going to be a necessary thing, because if you aren't thinking about it yet, it may become too late sooner rather than later, because that's just it. He's counting on everybody watching there and being stuck in fear and shock as to what's going on and not preparing yourself. You're going to have to accept a prepper lifestyle and think, how long is it going to take to rebuild the country and to bring things back to normal? Because that's just it. You guys should have universal health care. There's no excuse for not having it. There's no excuse for you to have your pharmaceutical prices sometimes upwards of 10 times what the rest of the world pays. You guys just
but there's
accept
Trump
it.
RX. That's a great thing. Nope, except for the fact that you can't use Trump RX if you're already have prescription plans. It's for people who don't have, health insurance plans. So you wouldn't need it if we would have had a better healthcare system to begin with. So, and of course he had to put his name on it because he has to put his name on fucking everything. So.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, you guys need to fix it, and insist that if you're, and when you get the Democrats in power, you need to say, this has to be a priority. We want universal Medicare. We want, affordable drugs. We want everything. The billionaires have everything. If they're unhappy, tell them to fuck off, go away, and leave. And then government will take over their companies and run them properly, as opposed to what they are doing now. And that's just it, because what you have right now isn't working. It isn't working for anybody. It's working for the very, very few at the top, and everybody below that are just getting fucked royally,
And not in a good way.
No, not in a good way at all. I mean, every day I look at what I have up here in Canada and I think, thank God my dad made the right decision and moved us up to Canada back in 77,
Yep.
Because, I've had a relatively stable life because of the governmental institutions and the systems that we have enacted here that allow everybody a safety net via which they can use to crawl back up into society and try to regain some semblance of normalcy. I mean, there are those that fall between the cracks. Yes, we have drug addicts. We have all the other people who have those weaknesses, but we also have programs here to help them, and that's just it. You guys don't have that. Everything is pay to play, and somebody has to profit from somebody's miseries, and that seems to be the prevailing wind that you guys live by. I don't understand how that works and how you can live with yourselves knowing that, but that's what you've been doing for the last 50 fucking years. Anyway, I've said too much.
I don't know. Some people might say you haven't said enough, but still, there's always tomorrow, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, nice
All
chatting
right.
with you, Dan, and congratulations on your new job. I hope everything is going better for you and relieve some of the stress. And, did you get any beads for Mardi Gras?
Oh, we got so many beads, so many throws, so many everything. Just, it's great. I had to buy a new cart because the old one was all like mildewy and falling apart. So I got a new cart, I got a new chair, and fortunately I could afford it because of the new job or whatever. But yeah, it's one of the nice things about the new job that I will say is that the people who hired me didn't involve the HR person, and because and what was it, they if they wouldn't, if I had had the conversation that I had on the day that I had it with the person from HR about when benefits start, I would have had to wait till April to get health insurance. But because they realized that they didn't inform me of that, of how the benefits formula worked, they actually moved my start date back a week before to what it really was. So not only I got a 3 weeks worth of pay, and my benefits will start on March 1st. So that tells me all I needed to know about this company is that they did the right thing and they made things right by me and were willing to do that just to benefit me and not have me in a lurch.
Well, that's just it. There are good people in this world. You just got to go out and find them. And in this case, you found them, and I mean, that's congratulations. I'm happy for you. I hope it all works out for you in the end. I wish the same could be said for everybody, that we can find the good people and work with them. But, unfortunately, we have a lot of shitty, miserable people who just want to see shitty, miserable things happen to everybody. And, the government is supposed to be there to help people transition to a better life, and that's just it. The government is failing at every turn. And
I blame Reagan. I blame Reagan for that whole idea, because our government should be there to help people out. But Reagan mocked that idea when he was like, well, I'm the government and I'm here to help, and that's the most scariest words in the English language. I was like, yeah, Reagan can go fuck off on that one. But even Reagan nowadays seems like a moderate compared to, what we have now. It's sad that we can look back at the debate between Reagan and George H.W. Bush on immigration and watch both of them wanting to treat people with humanity, but you don't blame them for wanting a better life. You try and fix the overarching situation that makes them feel like they need to come here for a job, and in the meanwhile you make it legal for them to do so. And I'm like, where the hell did these Republicans go, and how did they get so far gone? It's because I guess it's always where they have been, and maybe they've just been testing the waters every now and then, just say, okay, let's see how much to the right we can push, how much further we can push the Overton window, so that the centrists are now still right wingers. That's
Yeah,
one
but
of
I
the,
mean, look at him. Look at him. He was the union leader for Hollywood, for the Screen Actors Guild, right?
Mhm.
And then he what was the first thing that he did? He went and he dismantled the air traffic controllers union, and he went
Yep.
and he started doing all that stuff. And then what was the other thing? Oh, they're getting too smart and they're too liberal and everything else. Let's turn the 80% that's covered by the state as well as the federal government of universities, so that way education can be affordable in a post-secondary education. And we'll put the 80% burden on the students now so that they pay, and the government and the state only cover 20% of the university and colleges and other things like that. You know, and I mean,
Right.
that's the thing, right? I mean, he turned everything, he literally turned the apple cart over and started basically destroying all the fruit that was lying there on the ground. You know, and I mean, that's just it. You know, he really was a horrible person, you know,
Right.
and that's
I mean,
just
he
it.
was terrible, but what we have now is even worse, which is which is just a damn shame.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I'll leave it on that note, I guess. I don't know. I'm shaking my head and counting all the blessings that I have up here in Canada and wondering why the hell you haven't got it already. But you know, that's the way it is, unfortunately.
Poorly educated, who Donald Trump loves. That's always what it calls
Yeah.
back to, the poorly educated. Anyway, thank you so much, Big Hook. Good talking to you, and we will talk to you again sometime soon.
Okay, take care. Bye,
All right, bye-bye.
everyone. Bye.
All right, Big Hook, everyone. Thank you for calling. We'll leave the phone lines open for a little bit longer. But one thing I did want to talk about is that, you know, everyone jokes around, sits there joking around, like, or maybe not even joking around. It's like, we can't wait for the news. We can't wait for the news of the blood clot doing its part to help humanity, right? What's it going to take for somebody? And I'm not saying that somebody should do this. You know, if anybody is watching and listening or whatever wants to think that I'm advocating for, a crime to happen, I am not. But he's going to piss off the wrong people soon. I'll compare this to what happened at the Mardi Gras parade with me. I was telling this to one of my neighbors who was standing next to us at the parade at Monday night, which was one of these days the person who was like shoving people out of the way. One of these days that he's going to shove the wrong person, and that person is going to shove right back, or they're going to be armed, or they're going to do something, and they're going to take an action that they're not going to like. And while that person may commit a crime and might get arrested, it's not going to prevent the fact that the other person just ended up, causing a situation that caused them to be harmed. So I'm wondering what it's going to take for that to happen in this government, right? Is this government, like, how long, like, or how many of them how many threats have they already stopped? That's an awesome warning. I mean, we already know about the two, Miracle Ear, the one with the Miracle Ear, and then the other one with the, with the one by the golf course or whatever. We already know that two were stopped, and that was even before he became president, right? For the second time. How many of you would think, knowing this administration as we do, you would think that they'd actually come forward with this, and then they would actually say, hey, we've stopped this, we've stopped this, we've stopped this. Thank you, Susie, for being a liberal Danimal for 6 months. Appreciate you. You would think that if those things were happening, that this administration would be using them as examples, not to martyr them, but to basically say, if you come after the president, you're going to have to put up with what we're going to put you through. But maybe, I don't know, maybe the other side of the thinking, maybe the other side of the coin is maybe there have been people who have made attempts or who have been caught trying to make an attempt, and they don't want to tell people, oh, people are making attempts, because that might embolden other people to then make attempts. Again, I'm not advocating for people to make any attempts. Don't get me wrong on that one. I was wondering what it's going to take for the administration. What is it going to take for this administration to take such actions that are going to cause people to actually do the things that are either frowned upon or whatever? You understand what I'm saying, right? How much is it going to take for somebody to just have enough and be like, I'm done? I saw somebody posted something about who's going to try and impress Jodie Foster today or something like that, because that's supposedly what was behind the person who tried to kill Reagan, right? Somebody was doing it for Jodie Foster. I don't know why they thought Jodie Foster, but again, people who do that things are wackadoodles and crazy. So what's it going to take? Like, how many people are going to get wronged where somebody just snaps and pulls a, whatchamacallit, like a Mangione or whatever, but instead of a healthcare executive, it's somebody else. So he hasn't passed the grassy knoll yet. Who knows? I don't know. So are school shootings down, or is ICE stealing the bandwidth? I don't know. It's a good question, 250 kilo ohm. I haven't really thought about that. Why has the big finger not appeared out of the clouds and squished him? Not just him, everyone. Everyone involved in that. Josh sees it will be his own people. That's maybe a good point. Because that's probably where you see the most gun nuts. It's the people coming from the right who are the gun nuts, right? You know, the most rabid gun nut people are the people on the right. So he's going to do something that's going to piss off one of the people on the right, and they're going to take the action. Probably. That would probably be how it goes, right? So I don't know. Butler, Pennsylvania was totally staged WWE style. I mean, Trump was in the WWE for a small bit. I was saying back in 2016 how it would be a national embarrassment to elect the person that shaved Vince McMahon's hair on national television. Because, what was it? I forget who it was. I think it was Bobby Lashley and was it Umaga? The two folks who were wrestling with each other. I don't know. Anyway. See what else. Reagan and Bush also didn't want to prosecute employers hiring the workers. Therefore, amnesty was the easy solution. Donald, on the other hand, doesn't care unless he's losing his own cheap labor. Others do. Not his problem. He did have, they raided the Hyundai plant, right? And that's, for hiring, for supposedly hiring people who were here illegally, but in reality, the people who were there training the new workers, and then that just completely screwed it all over, right? So I don't know. Again, I want this problem solved legally or natural causes. That's how I want this problem solved. And that's how I hope it does get solved. I hope that enough people can show up to these protests, like, the one coming up on March 28th. I hope enough people can come to these protests and show in force, in mass, that we have enough people we're saying is enough is enough, and make the people who are, below him understand they're on the wrong side of the aisle, that they've ridden the wrong horse, whatever analogy or euphemism or whatever you want to use. I hope that enough people stand up and say enough, and that people realize, okay, these people are really having enough. It's up to the people in Congress, really, at this point. It's the people in Congress who need to step up and do the right thing, and who need to be told that and made to feel that they are going to lose their jobs if they don't do the right thing. Maybe when polling data starts coming out for the November midterms, maybe then people will be like, oh shit, these people are serious and we are all going to lose our jobs if we don't. And it's a damn shame that that's what it takes Republicans to do. It takes Republicans their own, and we've talked about this before, Republicans will sit here and they will absolutely just only do things in their own self-interest. They look at people and they don't care about what happens to other people. They only care about what happens to the people who are themselves or they're in their own groups. We on the left look at people who are not in our group per se. If I'm a cisgendered white male, I'm not trans. I am not somebody who is going to be picked up and deported, or I'm not. There's no fear of that happening. At least under the claims of me being Hispanic or whatever. I mean, they might pick me up as a political prisoner at some point, because that's where. That's what Hitler did, aka Trump's hero. They put the political prisoners in the concentration camps as well. But when it comes to just how I look, I'm not somebody who's going to be picked up and detained simply because of the fact that, I look like a white dude, because I am a white dude, unless you're a Nazi Klansman who doesn't view Jewish people as white. Right? Anyway. But I sit here and I see things happening to other people. I see people pointing out the folks, who are, the Somali people who are there. Oh, it's the Somalians running the daycares. No, they're using that as an excuse to go after them, after the Somali people, because it's the fact that their Somali heritage has nothing to do with what crime some of them may have been alleged with doing. And of course, the percentage of people who have been convicted of crimes who are Somali versus the total number of Somalis in like Minnesota is like what, less than 1%. So there's that. So it's like the whole thing with like, you know, I did mention the name of the university of the person who shoved my wife, but I didn't mention what type of university it was. I didn't mention whatever, you know, other characteristics you might have been able to describe this person as. Why? Because I'm not conservative. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, this so-and-such guy who was whatever, that person, the person's, you know, had nothing to do with it. Who they are, how they were born, had nothing to do with the fact that they're a fucking asshole, shoving people out of the way and putting people's lives at risk, putting people's health at risk, you know, shoving people around like a bunch of bullies. Had nothing to do with what is. And that's why I try and explain to a lot of people all the time, and people don't seem to want to get it. That I had an argument with somebody who was pointing out, you know, the fact that Epstein was Jewish or whatever. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Yeah, he was Jewish. You could tell he was Jewish because his name is Epstein. Most people named Epstein weren't raised Jewish. They were probably born Jewish at least, or at least have a Jewish family somewhere in their heritage. But they are Jewish, so but we must have to bring it up somehow. If you're bringing up Epstein's Jewishness and his crimes, then you're being anti-Semitic, and people don't understand that. People don't want to hear. And again, people don't like to hear that they're being bigoted, that they're being racist, that they're perpetuating, you know, these tropes that have existed for eons in humanity's history, because they don't want to be called out for being a horrible, terrible person that they are. Anyway, hey Troll Slayer, good to see you. Thank you for joining. Puts a sleeping spell on Susie. I put a spell on you. Anyway, I miss anything else in the chat? We're gonna go ahead and shut down the phone lines because nobody else is calling in, so we're fine with that. But again, if you do want to call in and leave a message, 562-LIBDEN1, 562-LIBDEN1, 562-542-3261, you can call in. Feel free, leave a message. I'll be more than happy to respond to it on the show if it's something that's respondable to. Even if it's a terrible thing, I might be like that might very well be one of my new bits that I do in the show, is just responding to voicemails or texts. I think, hey, Jeff, if you're still watching, try texting 562-542-3261. See if you can send me a text message and see if that works or not. Because I don't know what's going on with that. It's so weird that you can't call a Google Voice number. I don't know. Have you tried dialing 1 beforehand? At this point, the phone line is off. Just going to go straight to voicemail. But anyway. Anyway, well, somebody did say I had a lot of energy. It is, and I do not like going off the air whilst there's still that little red beam of light from Leanna. You know, we'll at least play music until that goes away. But I am starting to get a little bit winded or whatever, and I may want to go ahead and hit the hay soon so I can wake up in the morning fresh and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to start the day anew and do more work for my employer, who's, you know, again, one of the things before I go, I think one of the things I didn't want to say before Big Hook went off the air, whatever, but, you know, that I found a good place to work. Not just that they did the thing with the health insurance to make sure I was insured by March 1st. Not just that, but also there's the whole thing of, you know, when going through the training documents and taking like the courses as to all the things that they feel are important. DEI was listed as one of them. So it's not a firm that's fighting back against DEI. I mean, you have Trump as president. You don't have to worry about DEI unless you know, actually care about the subject. And they feel that diversity, equity, and inclusion are good things. So during the Trump administration, supporting DEI tells me that you're a top-notch firm, that you're a firm that's going to be good to work for. Because my old firm believed in DEI as well and talked about how important diversity is, inclusion is, equity is, because those are all helping out to get better outcomes, because by having a more diverse group of people, you get better outcomes by having different points of view, presenting different ideas to everybody else. So if you're a conservative, happen to be watching, and you don't understand DEI, and why DEI is important, that's one of the reasons it's important. Anyway, thank you very much. We will be back on the air tomorrow, Thursday evening, 8 p.m. Central, again, for another episode of Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from Left, That's Right. Remember, check out this Liberal Dan Radio store. It's linked to on all of the videos that I have now on YouTube. You can get a Melt Ice shirt, a Man of La MAGA shirt, etc. Or just a plain old Liberal Dan Radio shirt, or Al Gore Needs More Rhythm shirt, or the FDT. I wore the FDT to the parade, and I got a couple of good marks on that as well. Use that as an opportunity to advertise the podcast as well. Anyway, so until tomorrow evening, same bat time, same bat channel. Hope everybody has a great rest of your evening. Have a good one. Peace.
Trump piled debt, trillions tall. Promised Mexico would fund that wall. Praised dictators, said they're strong. Had Joe done it, they'd say he's wrong. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, they'd scream foul play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Go through crises, storms, and more. Called soldiers losers who died in war. Hire his kids to run DC. If it was Hunter, they'd scream treachery. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, Fox News would say our day. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Love Kim Jong-un, he wrote love letters that take the guns first, lose those rights forever. Signed you spending bills with glee. Had Joe done that, it'd be tyranny. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, they shout love today. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Kept secret files, countless untold. Said Putin's word was good as gold. Invited the Taliban to come to U.S. soil. If Joe had done that, they'd all recoil. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd want him to pay. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Double standards loud and clear. Rules for Trump, but not for peers. What they call treason if Joe's the name is patriotism when Donald's to blame. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd shout no way. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. They wrote it in the laws, ink still bleeds. Treating women like soil, just planting seeds. She's gone, brain dead, not even awake. But the state's got a claim, gonna plant its stake. Say it's God's will, say it's life they protect. But they ain't the ones feeling pain or neglect. From Texas to Georgia, they set the trap. Rights roll back while they smile and clap. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey, MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. This ain't pro-life, it's control and shame. They don't care if she's gone, just playing a game. Keep her hooked to machines, cold and still. Just a vessel to them, not a human with will. No consent, no voice, no chance to resist. Just laws in place, written with a clenched fist. Hospitals scared, judges playing God. Bodies ain't temples, just stay on pods. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey, MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator.
dance in the dark, they don't care who it kills. Sacking courts while they strip out all of your wills. But we'll fight back, march loud, burn bright, cause this ain't the end, it's the start of the fight.
Kill the ants here, ain't no grace, and those leopards are coming to eat your face. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator.
Not gonna be a baby incubator. Not gonna be a baby incubator.
Obama and Bush's pictures got hidden, obscuring the past, history rewritten. Hung in a hallway where no tour can see, confirming his unending fragility. If Trump can't see it, you must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. Object permanent, a milestone missed. If Trump can't see it, he must not exist. Stop the testing was the line that he said. Hundreds of thousands needlessly dead. Now HHS is run by brainworm quack, hiding the truth behind his back. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. An administration run by narcissists. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Of documents stacked floor to the wall, top secret folders in a bathroom stall. Charges were pressed but the case was dropped. A corrupt judicial system he can co-opt. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. He'll swear it's fake news, a liberal twist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Downtown tents lining the street. Invisible people that power won't need. Hide them away so the cameras can't find it. Proof of a system that's cold and unkind. A chaotic secret, an NDA sign, an illegal bribe. Michael Cohen fine. Trump got fined too over his gag order, but she didn't gag cause he was much shorter. It must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. We can't let him win, we must resist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. The creative director at WGSO had a little something he thought you should know. When Dan picked on his bits, Steve got real gruff. So Steve called Dan a flake, called him liberal dandruff. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan radio, it's the best, cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest. Steve's about to find out his mistake. In this feud, Dan's Kendrick, Steve is Drake. Dan might not be the world's best singer, but he's got more talent in his little finger. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan radio, it's the best, cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest.
drop the bomb, so don't wait up for me. But while you swelter down there in your shelter, you can see me on your TV while we make a necropolis. Watch George Stephanopoulos describing all the populace and cities we have lost. No need for you to miss a minute of the nuclear holocaust. Little Johnny Jones, he was a U.S. pilot, and no shrinking violet was he. He was mighty proud when World War III was declared. He wasn't scared, no siree. And this is what he said on his way to Armageddon. So long, Mom, I'm off to drop the bomb, so don't wait up for me. But though I may roam, I'll come back to my home, although it may be a pile of debris. Remember, Mommy, I'm off to get a commie, so send me a salami and try to smile somehow. I'll look for you when the war is